Hi, everyone. This is Rob Packard from Medical Device Academy, and today we're talking about FDA registration. First week of the new fiscal year 2025, people now have to pay their user fee to the FDA to register their establishment. And that's a big chunk of change that companies have to lay out to register in the US to sell their medical devices. That fee, what if you don't pay it on time? What happens? Do you go to jail? No. You have to comply if you're going to continue to market your devices. If you don't comply, yes, in theory, you could have federal marshals show up, lock the door, take away your product. But that's not likely to be happening. Most of the time, companies comply voluntarily because they don't want that sort of thing to happen. The question is, what if you're a little bit late? That's maybe a little bit more realistic. So let's get into some of the details about what if scenarios, because this happens every year and we get lots of questions. So let me share a little bit more here. This is from my new remarkable Paper Pro tablet. So we get a little bit color now. For those of you that didn't see the unboxing, I'll put a link below. But the fiscal year 2025 began October 1st, this week, and ends next year, September 30th of 2025. The total FDA user fee for registration is $9,280. There's no proration in that fee. You got to pay the full amount. You don't have a choice. It's for anybody that is going to be selling a medical device, marketing, distributing a medical device in the US. We'll get into a little bit more details about it in the next slide, but you don't have a choice about paying this fee, and there is no small business discount for the registration. People are like, what? I remembered it was none. Yeah. Well, I remember when gas was 25 cents, but that's not today. Today, the FDA, the way they determine this $9,280 fee, the way they do it is they take the total budget for the group that does the FDA inspections, and they divide that by the number of companies that they could potentially have to go do inspections of. So that number comes out to $9,280. And that includes the overhead that's associated with managing all those inspectors and conducting all those inspections, and the follow-up that's required when people have 43 inspection observations and warning letters. So let's get into a little bit more of the other details. So number one, when can you pay? So you can't pay until October 1st. It's October 4th now, so you can pay now. People contact me like the end of September. I haven't gotten an invoice from the FDA. I have tried out long. Let me pay for 2025. It's okay. You don't have to pay until December 31st. That's the end of the deadline. You have to pay by December 31st. But you can't pay until October 1st. So that gives you a 3-month window, all of October, all of November, all of December to make your payment. Now, any changes that you want to make to your registration, you can't make them until after you pay. That's why we tell people, if you want to make changes, log in September, update your password, make all your changes then, so you're not under the gun to make a change right now or make a payment right now so you can make those changes. Make your changes before October 1st. Too late for you now because you didn't listen to our advice then, but maybe you'll remember next year. Maybe you'll be watching this video again next year. So you can pay now until December 31st, anytime in that timeline. It takes about 48 hours for the money to clear. If you have a US bank account, not so difficult. You can do an ACH transaction. If you're international, if you're one of our clients that's overseas, you're going to have to do a wire transfer to the US FDA, and they have wire transfer instructions on the website telling you how to do it, and we have it also on our user fee page. So on our website, medicaldeviceacademy.com, check it out. We have a user fee page. There's a little search icon in the top right-hand corner. Click on that and go search for our user fee page, as well as our small business page. And we'll be giving updates on the small business. I'll talk about it at the end, so stick around for the end. So that's when you can pay. You can pay now until December 31st. Next one is, what is the renewal deadline? So, as I said, December 31st is the last you can pay. But there are some scenarios when you might need to do it sooner. But if you wait until after, so what if you pay later than December 31st? We're going to cover that as number 7, okay? So right now, the deadline's December 31st. What if you're a new company and don't have a registration set up? Well, for new companies, you're going to have to spend a little bit more time setting up the account. You pay the fee on the user fee website. We call that the DFUF website. So it's DFUF, D-F-U-F. You pay on the DFUF website. You set up a separate account for that. That'll take you 15, 20 minutes to make that payment, and you can pay it by ACH or you can wire transfer money. Once the money is cleared, you'll get an email from the FDA with your PCN, payment confirmation number. The number that you got at the beginning when you first made the payment online, that's the PIN number, payment identification number. You need both of those numbers in order to complete the process. Once you have that 72 hours later, then you create an account on the FURLS website, and I'll spell that for you, F-U-R-L-S. On the FURLS website, that's where you're actually doing the registration listing. And to complete the whole process, you need those 2 digits, the PIN and the PCN. It's a lot of digits, 2 different numbers. It's just like setting up your account on the DFUF website, has a 15-digit password, but this website, the registration FURLS website, is much more secure. It has to be, and you have a lot of trouble changing it, so never lose your password for that FURLS website. When you go through the whole process and complete the registration form, and then you think you're all done, it's going to say now you can do listing. You have to list at least one device to complete the process, and then it asks you to put in your PIN and PCN. So if you're like, I never had it ask me for the PIN, your listing of a device. So if you have a class 1 device that's exempt, you can put that in. If you have a 510K cleared device, you can put in that device. If you have a device that is not yet cleared and you have no class 1 devices, you don't need to register because you're not shipping anything yet. You can wait until you get your 510K. Once you get that first device listed, then you can type in the PIN and PCN and complete the process, and it'll give you confirmation. And then you can add on your other products later. But you want to try to complete that as soon as you can for getting that first device in there and complete the process. And if you need help, we help with that. So that takes care of the new companies. Now, for 510K submissions, if you are submitting a 510K sometime in the next 3 months and you haven't renewed your registration yet, for those companies, you're not going to be able to pay your user fee for the FDA, or at least not submit a 510K until you've renewed your registration. It asks you at the top of the screen, are you current on all your registration? Companies that have never been registered, they're always confused. You're not shipping anything. You don't have to register yet. There should be a not applicable, but it doesn't give you that option. So they just click on yes and they proceed. But for you companies out there that have been on the market, you're registered, and it's after October 1st, like now, if you want to do a 510K, you're going to have to pay your registration first, and then you will be able to pay your user fee for the 510K. So you have to pay both of those fees. So if you plan on submitting something in September, it got delayed until October, now you're going to have to pay that user fee for the registration first and then pay the FDA 510K fee. So keep that in your budget mindset here. If you are a company that doesn't have any products on the market, is not currently registered, like I said, it doesn't apply to you yet. It's not applicable. You just pay your 510K fee. Once you get your 510K, then you will go out and you will register with the FDA, and it will force you to type in that K number when you register that product or list that product. So that's our 510K submissions. For small business discount, I'm giving you a little precursor here. At the end of the video, I'll talk about this a little bit more. But the FDA has a new online way to do small business applications for small business qualification. We have a page for small business. If you go to our website and you type in the search key small business, it'll take you right to the page that gives you all the details about small business. But the small business discount only applies to 510Ks, 513Gs, PMAs, de novos. It does not apply to registration, because the registration doesn't get any cheaper for the FDA, whether they do a big company inspection or a small company inspection. They're still going to spend at least 5 days there. We have a comment here from my friend Matthew. What happens if you misregister? For example, I register as a manufacturer, but I'm really a specification developer. So I can see 2 different ways you might misregister. If it's just what selection you made, whether you said, I'm a specification developer, I'm a manufacturer, I'm a contract manufacturer, I'm a complaint file establishment, you can go in and change those anytime you want. So if you made a mistake, we can go in there and help you fix that. And sometimes the FDA just tells people, sometimes during the inspection, oh, you filled this in wrong. You're supposed to click this option, not that one, or both of these options instead of just that one. So no problem. You just log into your account. Don't lose that login information. You log into the account, you make the change, just change the selection for what roles you have, and then save it, and you're good. So that's the simple scenario. Now, if you move, sometimes if you move from one member state in Europe to another member state in Europe, you're going to need the registration group at the FDA to actually make the change for you. You will not be able to make that change yourself. If you move within the United States, not a problem. If you move within your member state in Europe, not a problem. But certain, like you can change your address, but you can't change geographic regions dramatically, then the FDA considers it a different country in their database, and they have a problem with that. Not that they won't let you do it, they just won't let you do it manually. And I think there's some security reasons why they set it up that way. If you put in a wrong company name, you may have to actually contact them to change names. So there is a process for doing that, but it takes a little bit of work, and you have to convince them that you're not just selling the business to somebody else and somebody else should be paying that user fee for their new business. That's why they don't allow you to make certain types of changes, but changing from one address in one street to another address in another town, 3 towns over, generally that's not a problem. They also have a little box for campus environment. They say, if you have multiple buildings in a 10-mile radius, that's considered a campus environment. I think of it as you've got a warehouse around the corner. You don't have to register the warehouse around the corner separately. It can be considered part of that location. But if your FDA inspector has to drive a significant distance to that warehouse, then you're risking the possibility that they consider that a separate location. So they give you that 10-mile guidance. I don't think anybody's getting out their odometer and making sure it's exactly less than 10 miles, but you know what they're looking for. They don't want to have to drive an hour to get to your warehouse. If you have it that far away, you're going to have to register that as a separate facility. And yes, warehouses do need to be registered. So that's why they give you a little bit of leeway if it's corner or across the way. So that's our small business discount question. And I'll cover more about small business at the end, but thank you for the question, Matthew. It was really good. And anybody else has any other questions, feel free to put them down below. So next one, annual fees versus a one-time only. The registration is not a one-time only. It is every year for the fiscal year, you have to pay that user fee. 510Ks are one-time only. 513Gs, one-time only. De novos, PMAs, one-time only. Now, for a PMA, you have supplements. Each supplement you pay once, but you have many supplements you're going to do over time. So when you make a change to a device, it's a new submission, new one-time only fee, registration, annual fee. So that covers that item. And then the big question that I always get, this is the most common question I get. So you put it at the end so people stick around. What if you pay in, you're waiting for a loan and your country sponsors it and they give you a grant, but they only give it to you in January. What do? You just don't have the money. Okay, so if you try updating everything, it won't allow you to make any updates between October 1st and December 31st. You won't be able to submit a user fee for a 510K during that same period, but your registration is still valid from 2024. January 1 rolls around, now you have your money and you can make your payment, but whoops, you were late. You're past December 31st. It's okay. Your registration went to inactive status on December 31st at midnight, but are you shipping anything into the US at December 31st at midnight? Probably not. So as long as you do your registration renewal before you ship more product to the United States in January, you'll be fine. So it really comes around to when are you going to ship things? So if you're going to ship a whole bunch of product to the US in the first quarter, get it shipped in December so you don't have a problem. And then you get your money from wherever source. Now you do your registration. Now you can ship again. So that's what will happen. Now, let's say I took 6 months to make that payment. I really was in tough straits and I just had to save the money. You're still on inactive status. You'll still be able to go in, make your user fee payment, but it's not prorated. Remember what I said in the first slide, not prorated fees. So you're still going to pay the $9,280, even though you're doing the registration, let's say June, you still got to pay the same amount. So it doesn't do anything for you except you were waited until you had the money. So that's what happens if you wait until January to pay. Now, as I promised, there's going to be a new webinar that I'm going to do. It's going to be a live stream, not a paid webinar, but it's going to be about small business qualification. The FDA has made a new way for you to upload the information for a small business. It looks like it's limited to US only companies right now. I don't know if it's a pilot or that's going to be a permanent solution, but that's what it looked like because I didn't see a way to toggle from US to some other country. My problem is I don't know if it's just my account that has that problem because I have a US address, or it also includes other foreign companies. So I got to check with some of my foreign clients that have a CCP. I have one, I have many all over the world. So I got to pair up with one of them and see if they can walk me through, share their screen and see what they see if they see the same thing. They may not even have that option. But I want to do a video and do some screen captures for you and explain how the new qualification process works. It looks like it's much easier. I have a client that's going to be trying it later on this week. So if you are doing small business status and you are going in and trying that option, if you see something different than I do and you want to share a screen capture with me, I'll definitely give you a recognition and thank you very much. But I'm going to be going in there and doing some of that and giving people a video on here's how you do the small business qualification with a new online option. And if you're wondering where it is, it's in the CCP. So if you don't know what a CCP is and you don't know what I'm talking about, check out our future video that we're going to do live. I don't know if it's going to be on a Friday live stream or a separate one, but we're going to do that for you, explaining how you do small business qualification with the new CCP online submission instead of shipping it FedEx. So we'll see you next time. Links will be below for our user fee website, the DFUF website, the registration website, the FURLS website, our pages for user fee, and our page for small business qualification. And let us know in the comments what you want next time and if you have any questions. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.